people pleasing is really just about manipulation and hoping that we can change people in order to get what we want. Where serving is really about what's best for the other person and being able to guide them through a process in order to get to a solution that's really best for them, even if it's not them choosing you.
Welcome to the Coast Podcast. I'm Emily, a virtual assistant agency owner who left Amazon in 2019 to build my dream.
And I'm Whitney, a freelance writer and communications consultant who never felt at home in a cube farm.
We wanted to learn from people who paved their own ways like we did. So we created this podcast to talk to others who are brave enough to pick a different path. Creatives, entrepreneurs, people doing their careers and their lives their way.
Join us as we make new friends, get inspired, and show you beautiful paths less traveled.
Not every road leads to the coast, but the ones that do come with a great view.
Hi, everyone. My name's Emily Aitkins, and I own a virtual assistant agency in Linwood, Washington. I also, that's all that exists to that intro for now.
Yeah. And you're here. Do you want to give us a quick overview on what's been going on with Billy? I did mention it in last week's episode.
Oh, did you? Okay. Well, long story short, 2 weeks ago, we were walking around Disneyland with our family. And about 1 week ago now, on Saturday, my husband woke up with some numbness and tingling in his left leg. By Sunday, it had spread and he was almost completely paralyzed, couldn't walk. So we went to the emergency room and spent 10 hours there. They did a bunch of MRIs. This is not a short version. I'm so sorry. And
doesn't need to be short.
Spinal tap. The spinal tap was abnormal. They didn't know what was wrong. Kept trying to discharge us. They're like, you can follow up outpatient. I was like, hello, my husband cannot walk or feel his limbs. We are not leaving. Fun fact, if you're in the area, Swedish Mill Creek ER is literally only an ER. So if you ever have to go get anything serious, more serious, you are going to be admitted and you're going to go in an ambulance. So we went in an ambulance to Swedish Cherry Hill, and he was there for 5 days, and they thought it could be this really scary thing called Guillain-Barré syndrome, which your nerves are attacking its own anyway, it's not that based on tests. We have no idea what's wrong. He still can't walk. Life is unknown right now. So that's, if you see me intermittently in the pods, that's why. Whitney's a champion and continuing on without me, which is amazing. This isn't the first time I've done that to her, but she is amazing and we'll keep this going. And I'm here because Whitney had texted me hey, are you coming? This is the Zoom. I never text her back, and I hopped on this because I really am excited to talk to Hailey because I love Hailey. We've been in the DMs. I am so excited, but that's all my long roundabout way of saying I'm here. This is my hour of normalcy. I'm so happy to be here and connect with people because community is everything.
Yes.
And I thank everybody for their love and support. As you know, when you go through something traumatic, your people show up, and my people have shown up. So anyway, Whitney, introduce yourself.
Well, that could be a whole episode too about it. Cause we can get into this later too, but it's hard. Even if you have had hard shit, and I'm sure Hailey can relate to this as well. Even if you've been through your own hard shit, it's hard to know how to show up for other people because everybody needs different things. So even me, I'm I don't know what to do for her. She said no to the food. So now what?
My running joke has been everyone offering food, but nobody offering a lobotomy. That's what I actually need.
Because everybody's trying to take something off your plate, and we're not neurosurgeons.
No, and actually, the food is so helpful because people are just meal train, whatever. I've never had a meal train done for me, but it's actually I do now, and it's incredible to just be able to take care of him, do what I need to do throughout the day, and then someone shows up with dinner. I'm okay, this actually rocks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. Let us know too if there's a link or a way to join the meal train. And I'm Whitney Popa. I own a communications consultancy that I'm turning into a tiny baby agency.
I'm so excited about that. Oh my God.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll have to talk about it again when you have the capacity, but it's more of like, let me continue to live my life and help a few other people in meaningful ways as far as like having them on my team and also other clients. So I feel like with my kids getting older, it's just time for me to grow and my business to grow. And I had like a coffee machine conversation with myself like I like to have right out after a shower, and at the coffee machine is where I have my big inspired ideas. And I was thinking about my books and that company, and I was like, I want to grow that, so I need to not grow Popa and Ass. And then I was like, wait, and channeling Amanda Francis, and I was like, but I could do both. So I'm doing both.
You can do both, and you can set it up in a way that it's like it's going to be a lift at first, right? Any growth is going to be hard at first, but then you implement the systems and you know, like
Right.
It's not that it gets to be to the point where it's kind of autonomous-ish. But like,
Right.
yes, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, I'm excited for me too. I think, and what's cool about being here with Hailey is that we're all like in these cool, like the way I really love how we all think about our businesses. So I'm excited to get into that with you. And we've said her name a lot, but today you're going to be hearing from Hailey Aitkins, who is a wedding and women empowerment photographer based in Tacoma, Washington, whose primary focus is to make everyone feel seen, celebrated, and worthy in their own skin. And we have just been girl crushing on Hailey for like as long as we've seen her. We were all in a financial planning meeting with Erin Pohan, who was on the pod again 2 weeks ago. If you're listening to this episode like in order, and I was just like, who's that? I want her to be my photographer. I want her to be my friend. I want her to be my everything.
And we met you at the same time then. So we were like this. Whitney and I do that. I feel like we're very, very attracted to energy. And we have this.
And repelled by energy.
Right. And we are very in sync in a lot of ways. Like for example, like we both bought the 2 exact same t-shirts within 1 minute from our friend. And then like we both are attracted to specific people at events that we're at. And we're both like, Hailey. Anyway, you're great.
It's mutual. It's mutual.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Like, we're so excited, and we'd love to learn about you and your business, and like the way that we see it too. We're like, we meet Hailey and this is what she does, but we don't know anything about what came before. So that's what we want to learn about first. Like, who were you before you were Hailey Aitkins Photography?
I mean, I've talked to you a little bit about like not even a deep story, but like I'm so excited to hear your story because we're like kind of kindred in a lot of ways. So
I definitely feel that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm very excited. So business now, current, I'm actually not taking weddings anymore after this year, which is a huge decision because I think a lot of photographers, when you get into this space and you're like, okay, weddings are like, that's it. That's what I want to do. It's the moneymaker. It's like all this stuff, and it's so romantic, and like that's what you see on feeds, and everyone, it's tap worthy. And it's been a long journey because I actually went to college to be a clinical psychologist. Didn't end up finishing, as a lot of entrepreneurs, but I always knew that I wanted to do life coaching or help people really reclaim their sense of self-worth. And there was a moment a couple years ago where I was like, duh, I can do that with photography. Like, why don't I do that? So I kind of like, it was like a little seed, and then it, continued to grow. And then I was in Baja at the Mexico retreat with Kelsey Knutson and Karina Baldwin. And that was where I was like, do I want to do weddings anymore? This is like first day, they're like, okay, what's in your business that you're not making a decision on? I was like, weddings? Question mark? Like all timid. And then of course they forced us to share in front of the class. And so I shared it, and they're like, obviously, you know what the answer is. And I was like, okay. Because weddings is, they're 75%, 80% of my income.
Oh.
And I've been working on growing that for 3 years, like my entire photography business. And now they're like, well, now you know that you can do it. Now just go do it with like more intention and in more alignment with really what you want, which is like just women empowerment. So like women-owned brands, boudoir, and then like any sort of life transition, major life transition, whether that's divorce or losing weight, gaining weight, sobriety, buying your own house, whatever it is, just like fully supporting women. And like not just supporting them like, okay, you show up, you get nice photos and you leave, but like from the first time we talk to like forever, like I want to be friends with them forever, you know, and support them as best I can through a transformational journey and through a healing journey. So that's kind of where we are now. I'm going in that direction. I do have a full summer of weddings this year, but then I won't be taking weddings unless they're like destination weddings in like Italy or something. I can't say no to that.
You're like, I will be flown out to Italy.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's empowering.
It's empowering. It's empowering for me.
Yeah. I have a question, and I kind of know the answer, but I don't know like the story to it at all. You said you want to help women reclaim their sense of self-worth. Where does that come from?
Well, as we know, it's, you know, we help the people that we once were, right? I've struggled with self-worth for a really long time. I come from divorced parents. They divorced when I was 2, and then divorced several more times after that. They both got their second divorce at the time I was 14, and because of that, I was homeless basically for a while because I stopped living with my dad at the age of 12. Like, he and I still had a really great relationship. He just was not in a stable place where I really wanted to live with him, and I was tired of going back and forth and back and forth. Yeah. And then mom, during her divorce, had to leave, so we were just like couch hopping, but also still going to school. No one knew at school. Also went to a Christian school where there's a lot of like toxic religious stuff happening, a lot of shame, a lot of judgment, and terrified of like not belonging, not fitting in, because that's already going on at home, and like not really knowing what's going on like emotionally and stuff. Yeah. So that went on for ever until I got to college, and I was like, oh, I am so out of my league here, out of my depth. Like, there's kids that, you know, come from pretty decent homes and have some, like, their amount of maturity. I mean, I just was able to see that and go like, wow, I'm not there. Anyways, I'm getting into...
No, this is the shit we want. But it's also you realize like, holy crap, I've been in survival mode. Like, I haven't had time to emotionally mature or experience.
What I was hearing though is I would challenge that, because I, like, as a person who is, I wouldn't say sheltered, but like, you know, we all have our own shit. And when I went to school, the things that I was exposed to, I felt immature in certain ways compared to, like, you know, all the drinking, and I didn't party really in high school. So that kind of like level of maturity of like being outside of my cocoon, I was mature in some ways and very immature in other ways. So you're probably like perceiving some immaturity that you think of in yourself that you see or think of as them, and more mature. But there's like just so many definitions.
Just like experiences. Like, you didn't have the typical teen experiences because you were forced to essentially be an adult. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I even saw a huge discrepancy between the emotional maturity and mine, like their ability to self-regulate. I didn't have that. Like, I didn't even know it was something. Like, I thought I was so ahead. And then I get there and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to I don't know how to stand up for myself. I don't know how to...
None of that was modeled for you.
You had time for that, though.
No,
like, you didn't have time for that. You were busy trying to figure out where to live. You didn't have time,
and that wasn't being modeled to you. What was being modeled to you was...
anxiety. Survival.
Right.
Yeah. But so it was a big wake-up call, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah. It's always cool. Like, I remember when my husband and I got married and we're blending families, and like I had the opportunity through various things to see that not every family was like mine. And I watched him kind of figure that out. Like when you break from your family to become an adult, I had that experience. It was super painful for me in a few different ways. It doesn't have to be as painful as it was, but like we're both only children too, and to a certain extent, like enmeshed with our families. And so watching him go through that of like, oh shit, like, you know, you think your experience is the only experience until you're around all these other people and you're like, wait, look at all the ways that these families manage themselves. Like, and then you're able to become aware and make decisions of like, oh, what do I want? Because you didn't like ever think that you had choices. You didn't when when we're kids, we don't. And that's why I like talk this shit. Like my best friend would say, I like with regard to her mother-in-law, but like I'll say it with regard to my kids, I kind of ear fuck the shit out of them as far as like I talk to them a lot. I over communicate so that they feel like that even if they don't have a decision, they know like what's happening.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. And Billy's like, you don't have to explain anything. I'm like, but I don't have to, sure. But like, I want my kids to know what's happening and what's going on.
Yeah.
But I just think it's so beautiful. Like this experience that you had growing up, like, so fast forward, I've done a lot of the work, and I can tell you are too, based on like your reels, based on like all of the stuff that you're sharing. And I've kind of learned that like the skeletons, they say your demons are not what happened to you. Your demons are what you are left believing about yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's great.
And my demons are like, you are unlovable. You are not worthy of love, right? Yeah. It is not safe to be seen, right? Those are the things that I was left believing about myself. And it's when you grow up and you're doing this work around it, you realize how much that affects. I'm going to tie this back into everything, I promise. But you realize how much it affects every aspect of your life. As a business owner, I'm uncomfortable as shit showing up, being seen. Like I go to a photo shoot and I really struggle. I'm like, I know I'm this highest version of myself. I can't show up as her because like
except you're hot as fuck and you like definitely showed us your boobs.
Not my actual boobs, just cleavage.
Lots of cleave.
But
and
like
sexy faces and poses. And I know what you're saying, like how you feel in your body and you're practicing it. And that's like what Hailey's good at too, is like bringing that out.
See, that's the thing. I think that somebody that gets it, like, and not that most people don't, probably most people don't get it, right? But like a boudoir shoot with somebody like you, I'm like, oh, like I could unlock some shit. Like that in itself could be healing. And that's exactly what you're saying. Like,
100%.
I just, when can I schedule is what I'm.
Anytime. Let's talk. I believe that boudoir, it's a transformational experience. It's not like it's opportunity to heal. It's not.
It's not even just the, like I said, boudoir just because that's where my head went. But like, it's not just that. It's like anything where someone is viewing you from the lens of a camera. Like, have you heard that quote that's like, I wish you could see you, the others see you, the way others see you. And like through someone's lens of their camera. Like, I feel like you empower women. You're able to like show them like, look at you. Like, that's who you really are. And like, that is so special.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me weepy. Like
me too. Well, that's the beauty of, at least that's what I believe about photography. It's a mirror for us. It's an opportunity to go like exactly what you said. Oh, that's me. That's how you see me. That's how others see me. But like now that's how I can see myself. And now I have power and I can claim that about myself and declare that over myself and over my life. And I can move forward with that new vision, that new identity, and make decisions based off of that instead of, oh, I'm not good enough. I shouldn't, like you said, I don't want to be seen. I'm not good enough to be seen, which is, a huge theme that has been across my life too. Just terrified of being seen. But it's also what we all so desperately want. You know, it's the other side of the coin. Like, we want so badly to be seen for who we are, not just what we do or how we show up, but like to really be seen like, hey, I see you doing this and this, but I know in your heart of hearts, like, this is what's going on. I see that in you. You know, that kind of level of being seen. And
Whitney,
I really believe that, like,
Whitney sees me like way. But do you know when you have a friend that sees you that way and you're like, it's special. Like, Whitney sees me and she tells me all the time, like, who I am. And like, I know it, but like, it just makes me like so emotional. Like, oh, I love you so much.
Aw. Well, and likewise. It's cool when I love that feeling. Like, I mean, that's what attracted me, my husband. He was the first person who, like, I think we all can relate on, we look a certain way. People expect certain things from us, or that we'll show up and give them what they expected or what they want. He was the first person who was like, oh, look at her, like, with her sailor mouth and drinking a beer. Not that I really drink beers anymore, but like, you know, she's going to give me shit and I like it. And I'm not expecting her to just show up with dinner. I think he'd like that sometimes. And I do that sometimes. But like, I feel like I always expected that people expected certain things of me. Like, she's just a breeder, or like, she's not smart. I always indexed on being smart because I didn't want to like index on my looks. And that comes from various things. But like, when you just meet somebody and automatically you're just so comfortable being exactly yourself, like to have a photographer who gives that to you and who shows you the back of the camera. Because most photographers, they don't show me the back of the camera. And I'm just like, am I doing okay? I'm so awkward. Like, can you make me, like, show me that I'm hot and like keep telling me that I'm hot? Because I need that right now. Yeah. So I want to know too, like, okay, you're in college, you're doing clinical psychology. Are you photographing at the same time, and then you're like, I'm done here, I'm going to go full into photos? Or what was that journey?
Well, I only made it 1 year in university. Which that was another thing. Like, my parents told me that they were going to be able to pay tuition or like cover it, and then couldn't by the end of the year, and then I couldn't go back, like could not go back. So that was heartbreaking. But
same. I was in foster care, and my whole life I grew up like, you're going to be fine. You're in foster care. Like, they're going to pay for that, but they don't if you're adopted before age 16. So
really?
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. And Erin said she got into Harvard and couldn't go because her parents couldn't pay for it.
It's like, but you know what? I really believe it turned out the way it needed to.
Yeah. It does. It always does.
Continue.
So I was doing photography, but I was doing like landscape stuff. Photography was a way for me to escape and like go on adventures and go to new places and discover different beautiful landscapes that I'd never seen before. And that really started pretty hard in high school, which was also around the time that like Instagram became big. And so it was kind of like all of these people going out and doing photos. So I was a part of that. And so I was kind of dabbling in that when I was in college. But I hadn't like taken photos of people yet. I was terrified. I didn't believe in my ability to direct people and to manage people. I was pretty soft-spoken, and I was like, I can't do that.
Okay, also, though, I want to recognize that that's like a big deal, because what I look for in my photographers, and I self-identify as pretty awkward, but also like I've done a lot of photo shoots now, and I want the photos, and I have to work with people who are bossy with me and who are hands-on and tell me that my hair looks bad. I'm very paranoid about my hair. Please tell me, move my hair. Tell me my hair looks weird. Tell me what to do to my hair. I don't care if you don't want to touch my hair, then tell me how to touch my hair. Like our last photographer, when we were together for that big shoot, Emily, and she told me how to twirl it.
Yeah.
And I was like, my hair looks so fucking good in all those photos because she told me. Yep. And she told me how to twirl it. And I told her that I'm like paranoid about my hair, and she like made it work for me, and also like showed us the back of the camera. People get like very weird about that. So like the fact that you told yourself that and knew and meant and like force yourself to grow in whatever the way that you need to boss people around. It can be a soft-spoken boss, but like you need like to know that you need to people manage is a huge part because like there's a lot of very successful photographers who do not people manage.
Mm-hmm. Especially as a wedding photographer. I mean,
oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
That has, I mean, honestly, so grateful. And I love weddings for what they are. But they have like, I feel like they've made me into such a better person because now I'm like, no, do this, we need to go there. Like I can just boss and I can like, I know how to manage people and manage a lot of people at one time. But now I'm like, cool, done that.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Twitter. I'm like, Twitter made me a better writer because it forced me to like figure out how to be concise, and that's why I love Threads so much too.
Oh, I'm like, I see you on Threads like 8 times a day. I'm like, dang.
I'm testing some stuff. Yeah,
I like it. But the Instagram, the meta gods favor that, so I think that's good for you.
Except I have theories. They only like my stories about my kids. I go viral every time.
I know. I saw that one about Bianca in the soccer game.
Yeah, it's got over 3,000 likes. It doesn't give me more followers though.
Weird.
And then I'm like, here's something about my business, and it's like 1 like.
Crickets.
Dusty tumbleweed.
Social media is so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's changing all the time.
But I'm not going to stop. The algorithm doesn't own me. These
weirdos
at weddings, they don't own you. So you're taking pictures, and then you decided I'm going to take pictures of humans.
Yeah. I had some friends, and so I practiced, and I got, did some cheap shoots, but I was working as a bank teller at that time, which I hated because I'm like, I cannot do 9 to 5. I can't do it. I can't go to the same place every day. But I did that for a while, quit, moved on to to be an insurance agent, which is even worse.
Oh my gosh, funny.
And then COVID, got laid off, which was amazing. I was like dancing. I was like, never go back there. And I'm getting paid unemployment. Like, and then so it was really during COVID when I decided, let's freaking do this. Like, it's time. And I actually started as like a social media manager, and I was doing like all the photos, all the editing, and all of the posts, all the captions, all the stories and stuff.
Whitney did that, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, on my phone. I'm not a professional photographer. I played with a camera. It's a lot. I don't like editing. It is a lot.
And I hated that. That lasted for like 6 months, and then I was like, okay, I'm just going full photography. I just want to like capture people and get into weddings and elopements and stuff, and did that. But I was in a pretty toxic, abusive relationship during all of that. And then ending that relationship was what led me to reach out to a photographer. And I was like, hey, this is like where I'm at right now in my life. I want to hire you to take photos of me because I want to remember this like huge choice that I made, because it's going to be like, it's going to define the rest of my life. She was like, amazing, I'm down. Can you do it like in 2 weeks? I was like, fuck yeah, I can do it in 2 weeks. Like, here's $1,000. I don't care. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. And also that's like a powerful boundary for yourself. Because I remember I made a folder of all the emails from my ex-boyfriend who like that was a super toxic relationship, just to remember like how shitty he was and like how he like couldn't write. Not that like you have to write to be with me or be a good writer, but like it was just the broisms, the way that he talked and thought about the world. Like I needed those in a folder to remind myself, do not go back, do not contact him. Even now I'm like, his dad died. Should I send him my book? Like, no, he's not a good person for you. And so I need that folder. So that
plot twist, he already bought it. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Maybe he did.
That would be nice if he did. He actually supported me because I stole bread from my sorority to feed him. So he could buy my book. But I like the thinking of that as like an empowerment and a boundary of like, this is you in this moment. You're not going back. You're only going forward. I don't know how you were thinking about it then, but I love that.
Well, I like the theme of like divorce parties and like divorce photo shoots are coming up more and more and more. And I think it's like a very pearl clutching, like, how would you like it? But it's empowering. Like, I can see that it's like that you're celebrating the next chapter and like,
next chapter. It's renewal.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying, again, it's saying like, this is who I am moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Whitney, like, I'm not going back. Like, this is me moving forward. This is who I'm telling myself I am. This is who I'm claiming I am.
Plus, you're hot as fuck, and it could be like your dating profile photos, not too many that are super professional, because I have built dating profiles that have gotten people knocked up and married in that order. And so I am a professional
in that order.
In that order.
I did it in that order too.
But also, like, that's the same thing. It's so funny that we have different ways. Like, yours is like the photos, and then you built this whole life and career, which is so beautiful off of like that mentality. Whereas I went and bought myself a tanning package. I got a little drunk at happy hour, and I walked to the tanning salon. I'm like, I'm going to be even hotter. And I got a gym membership. I was like, gym, tan, laundry.
I did all that too. I did.
Get me, like, I don't even care if I have a new man. All I care is about being hot as fuck.
Yeah. But you know what? That's also now in married life. Like, we could be hot as fuck now. Like,
oh yeah, I made that decision after babies too. So it's not man related, it's me related.
Yeah.
You got your photos though.
I did. I had that experience, and then that was kind of like the awakening of, why don't I do this? Like, this is all I do for women, or like sessions like this. So that's what I'm moving towards.
And we talked about that with your website when you came to Website Church too, of like, just like, you deserve to be like seen, celebrated, known, recognized, you know, whatever, told you're beautiful, sexy, all of those things of like, it would be cool if it was like flashing, because I have no skills in that area, but all those things that like what your work does shows women they deserve X, Y, and Z, because we don't think about that. And I've actually like this year made it a point to celebrate myself more in a lot of ways and just pause and take the time to be like, fuck yeah, I did that. And like, that's what I'm hearing from you too, because we often, even within the like, I'm not lovable, all these things that we tell ourselves, it's like, okay, got to keep being productive, got to move forward, no time to like sit and rest on my laurels. And what you're saying is the opposite. Like, we're going to celebrate this moment, and it doesn't have to be like big or scary or whatever. It can just like be this treasure that you get to look back on. And I love that you're pushing that, because so many women don't give themselves like the permission to celebrate. And that's like what you're building your business on.
Yeah. And I think what we see culturally, what we consume visually as a culture, is what becomes a reality. And if we make it normal, if we normalize these kinds of photo shoots where women are being celebrated for divorce or for whatever it is that they're overcoming, or whatever it is on their healing journey that they really want to like draw attention to, like, if that becomes normalized, then like celebrating ourselves becomes normalized, and becoming like putting ourselves as a priority becomes normalized, and actually doing real self-care becomes normalized, not just, well, I just shower twice this week, you know, like actual self-care. Yeah, and really pausing for ourselves. And another thing, I think women, especially moms, they aren't the ones in the photos. They're the ones taking the photos, right?
Oh my God, so many. Yeah. Like at Disneyland, I kept stopping because moms were taking photos of their families. And I'm like, hey, give me your phone. We'll get in it. And Billy's like, why do you keep doing that? And I said, because nobody does that. Like, moms are never in photos, and we don't get to have the photo of us. Like, I actually set up like a self timer and like propped it up on a like thing and like got pictures of me and EJ when we were there. But like, nobody does that, and I want to change that. I'm like, hey,
and
I see you. Let me do that for you.
Yeah. Your Instagram husband has no patience to give you options.
Oh, I don't have an Instagram husband.
Well, I barely have one, because he's like, yeah, you know, he's like, and then he's like, you know, they love the portrait mode too, even when it's unnecessary. And it's just like, this is why I need girls.
Have you seen the reel that's like my funeral slideshow is going to be literally all selfies of me because nobody takes photos. So.
Oh no, I don't. I try not to like spend time
Like
on
that's
shit
so
like that.
sad. Like,
Yeah.
but like I have
But
actually,
it's kind of true sometimes.
it's kind of true, and I have really great memories of like me sitting on my grandma's bed when she was like 80 something years old and looking through her old photos of her. I was like, damn, grandma, you were like, look at you. Look at those legs. You had great legs. She's like, I had great everything. Like, and she was like, so, like, I just,
Exactly. Yes.
it's cool, like, to be able to preserve yourself in those photos and like have them to look back on. And like, I used to think it was weird when people had like naked photos of themselves in their bathrooms or whatever, but now I'm like, that's so hot. Like, you're gonna want that. You're gonna want that later. Like,
Go girl.
Oh, yeah. There's a quote I saw that was like along the lines of, you're going to get to a point in life where like all you have are photos. Like that's it. You just have memories. You don't like, you probably gotten rid of most of your stuff. Like all you have are the photos that are left of your life. And if we're not caring for that and intentional with what those memories are, and like, yeah, we have phones now. So like we have so many photos, but it's so different when you're hiring a photographer to be really intentional with how you're capturing those photos and being able to really be present yourself and like say, hey, I trust you, professional. We can be like, whether it's family or whatever you're doing, but like really being present with your body and not being disassociated from the moment because you're taking selfies or because, you're like removing yourself from the moment instead of really putting yourself even more in the moment. It's so important.
I love your eye too, because I can tell that you feel and capture the emotion. You allow for candids. I just can't I mean, all the photographers when I was in high school, it's like, we stood there in our denim shirts, all different colors of chambray or whatever. And we're just, doing our family photo with our smiles. But it was never like even the high school photos now, like they're candid, unposed, and so beautiful. And you use movement and light and like even our wedding photographer, I knew years in advance, like I even sent her when I emailed her to ask her to be our photographer, the subject line says it has to be you. Like I planned my entire wedding around her availability so that it could be her because of the way that she captures emotions and people and my face without like everybody has bad angles. And I love that you mix all of that together so well. Like I love the blurry. I know it's like trendy in the wedding thing. I love it. Keep being blurry.
Yeah.
Keep, doing some fun shit over your lens for me. Take me to a field. I don't care what you do. Like you were saying, Emily, like Hailey's somebody that you can totally trust because she gets it and is just like, I'm here to see you in this moment. Not like, you paid me for graduation photos. It's more than that.
Yeah. It's more than that. Yeah. There's another photographer I follow and she says like you're witnessing yourself, which I really loved. Like I'm here to capture you like witnessing yourself. You're here to be your own witness. And like I'm witnessing you too, and that's powerful. But I'm providing the space, the safe space for you to be able to witness yourself. And then, there's a lot of power in that.
It's cool because it's like so much bigger than you.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of photographers are like, this is my job. I take pictures of people and sure they have an art to it, but they're not thinking of it at that scale of like, I want this to be bigger than me, bigger than you, something for like your great grandchildren to look at and be like, look at her legs and how hot she was.
Yeah, exactly.
or like what we said on that episode we did together, like once we remove ourselves from the business, once we make it about the people that we're serving,
100%. Yep.
That's what it's all. It snowballs and it gets like, that's where the true meaning is.
Yeah. I have hired a financial coach and one of the first lessons that she taught me was actually about like the difference between people pleasing and serving. and how people pleasing is actually stemmed from when we're like defenseless as children. We have to please our guardians in order to like survive.
Right.
And it's really manipulation. And as we become older, like it can get even, demented. But people pleasing is really just about manipulation and hoping that we can change people in order to get what we want. Where serving is really about what's best for the other person and being able to guide them through a process in order to get to a solution that's really best for them, even if it's not them choosing you.
I like that so much. That's like the way that's so eloquently said. I've been starting to do this in my business too. I literally say like, if I don't have the right person for you, I'm going to help you find someone who I will refer you. I will like share your posting. Like, I'm not here to collect a paycheck. I mean, it's nice if I do, but like, I want what's best for you. And that's, I think, what sets all of us apart is like, and Whitney, you're not going like your services, you're not going to take their money if you're like, I can't, like, I'm not the right person for you. If like you need this person, like I'm always the first one to tell you, like, you don't need me. You need like a copywriter, like go talk to,
Yeah.
So I think that's like really number one. Like if the people that we're serving, it's just it just makes us good people too. Like,
yeah. And if you haven't read Elise Lonen's book on that, The 7 Deadly Sins, and how they're keeping women like being the good girl or whatever, like the title is, she's the one who used to be like Gwyneth's number 2 at Goop. And she wrote this big book about you'd recognize the cover probably. It's really beautiful. And she talks about that too, the people-pleasing manipulation. I wish more women knew about it because I recognize it in so many women and they'll do it to me and they don't know that they're doing it. It's so insidious. And she was even giving the example of the quote that we all love in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where she says the man is the head and the woman is the neck.
Yes.
And it's all about manipulation. And it's actually like the person that she was interviewing about that just hates that and that we all love it because it's so not true. Like it's not healthy. And it's not that it's not true. It's not healthy because like we shouldn't be seeking to manipulate. We should be able to have truthful, honest relationships where like a man, we shouldn't have to make it his idea. It can like, anyway.
That scene in that movie.
Yeah. And like, it's true. And also what's scary about it is like the man part kind of funny and they are, I don't want to generalize their species, but they can be more difficult. But what we take from that is we take it everywhere. So it's not just like we're sitting there trying to figure out how to get him to do what we want him to do by like planting seeds. And then he's all of a sudden has this inspired idea. It's that like we're going out in the world and doing that to other women and in our workplaces. And then we're frustrated about like why we feel incongruent. And I just got so hype about that book when I was.
It's called On Our Best Behavior.
Yes.
I just reserved it on Libby.
Yes.
I love Libby.
Oh, it's the best.
So it's so necessary, especially in that section. It's the type of book too that will get you fired up about yourself and the things that you've absorbed and like been conditioned into. Both of you will love it because it's just like, holy shit, that's so true. And I didn't know I was carrying that, or that person that I'm frustrated with. That's why, because them trying to people please is actually like destructive to all of us. And they think they're doing the best when really they're like not. And we all feel it.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it too comes from like it stems from being a victim. It stems from not having power because of childhood, right? And so like continuing that, we believe, well, we don't have power, but we need to make people think that we do, or maybe think that we don't in order to like provide something for it's a continuous victim cycle. Mm-hmm. And if we stay there, like what good does that do anybody?
What I love about you and what Emily and I have like both recognized in ourselves and our businesses and what we preach a lot is that you have to be working on yourself constantly to be the best for you, your family, your business. And it can be frustrating too when you see yourself on a path and other people aren't keeping up with you at the same rate. And then you're like, ugh, like how do I, especially when you're in like intense relationships with them and family, for example, what do I do with this and how do I like keep on my path and not like drag them along? But at the same time, like knowing that I'm better in my life and my business because I'm doing this work and continuing to do it has had like such amazing results. And it's brought us more people like you because we're able to see in you like, well, she's doing her work too. And she's dabbling in different ways. Like I quit talk therapy because I was like, I don't need to sit here and re-traumatize myself every week. I'm going to go more into my body. And now I'm like, I need hypnosis. Need to do more of that.
We have to keep us updated on that.
I don't want to do a mushroom trip. Like, I don't want it to be like inspired by some sort of like plant medicine necessarily right now. I'd rather see how I can like access that through hypnosis. And also Kristen Cavallari.
There's
My celebs always tell me because I've been thinking about it and then she's like, I've loved it. So I'm like, okay.
I've actually been thinking about hypnosis too. It's something I've Googled, like hypnotist near me. So we should. Totally
there's a ton in Edmonds.
I know.
Okay. Yeah. Like, and say like, I love that Hailey's able to bring that because my last big question before we get into rapid fires, and I'm just so intrigued by this for everyone, is like, you probably have a lot of people coming to you with a lot of baggage, just like the things that they say that they don't know they're saying. Like even me, I'm awkward in front of the camera. I'm not, that's all relative, right? Like,
right.
That's just how I'm feeling in my body, but is it true? And you're able to question your own beliefs and help them question theirs. And I wonder like what that experience is like for you in session and in consult calls beforehand.
Yeah, it's a bit different for everybody.
Yeah. But you're like using your skills on them in that way of like Emily, you're a lovable creature.
Yeah, I've learned, I mean, this has been something that I have done from the get-go in my business, is that I really believe strongly in relationship, and like the better a relationship I can have with them before they ever get in front of my camera, the better our session is going to be, the easier it is, like the easier vulnerability is for them, because we have trust, we've established a friendship, we've established a relationship, and by the time we get to the session they just feel like we're hanging out, like we're just friends, and I can say, no, your hair looks bad, or you got a booger, or like, put you have a double chin, like, what to do, like, So a lot of it is just creating that relationship, building a relationship, asking questions, just personal questions. Like, I just want to get to know them as a person. And then we kind of foil the beliefs that they have about themselves. Funny, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, a Jay Shetty podcast, and he had Ed Milet on.
Wow,
Ed
okay.
saying, I know, I need to listen to it again. It's so good. But
he's intense, Ed. I love
it. He is intense. I'm like,
put it going
on me. Yes. And Ed was saying that confidence is about your intention. It's not about your ability to perform. And I was like, that's so good, because that's what I'm like already doing. I just even know that that's what I was already doing. Is like, I'm helping people get intentional. I'm helping them set intentions. I'm helping them show up with intentions already, so that by the time they get to their session, they can feel like the belief is there. They've wired that belief into them and into their bodies so they can show up for themselves. It's not about showing up and being like, well, I know exactly every pose I'm going to do. Like, it's not about performance. It's not about ability. It's about trusting in your intention, trusting in your own self. You're like, I know I have good intentions. I know that I love myself. I know that I'm doing this for myself. And because of that, through that, with that energy, that's how I'm able to show up, and that's how I'm able to have confidence. And I'm able to like mirror that back to you and remind you of why you're here. And, also just remind you of all the stuff that we've talked about. Because we have a consult call, but I also provide like a whole planning call. And if you want several planning calls, we can do that. But it's like planning/empowerment call, where we really just dig into how you're feeling, how to like practices I could give you to tap into your body so you're not so disassociated, which part of that is really just like getting in the mirror. If you can get in the mirror naked, that's the best. the getting in the mirror and like actually speaking kind things about yourself and like giving yourself eye contact is a huge one. But yeah, giving them tips like that. And then in every session, no matter what kind of session it is, I'm also giving like wardrobe and session guides. And in that is like logistical prep, mental prep, emotional prep, posing prep. But that way, like you're really preparing every part of you for the session. And
did you know you're a light worker? Like you are a light worker, 100%. Like, do you know that about yourself though?
I've had is it Reiki?
Yeah.
She does energy work. Yeah. I've worked with her and she's told me that. And then I'm what's the word? Not psychotic?
Psychic? Psychotic also same, but like same. But like you definitely like that's just very apparent to me. Like
the depth.
Yeah.
Mind, body, soul, man. I've never been prepped mind, body, soul.
No.
Oh, shoot.
No.
I love that. And if you want to take it to the next level, just be like my friend and client, Kevin, who owns Campy Aesthetics. He is an injector, and he, when he is not working, sometimes dabbles in plant medicine and dances around his house naked and in front of the mirror when he's on mushrooms.
That's amazing.
He's like, yeah, when I'm not here, I'm just like in space, but at my house, dancing naked in front of the mirror.
Like, what a beautiful life you live, Kevin.
Exactly. He's a trip, like in the most
literally
beautiful. Yeah. He gave us some mushrooms. Michelle and I worked on Michelle Mather, Purpose and Profit. She's rebranding, so I stumbled on that a little bit, but I think I did a good job. He gave us a little like shroom from his favorite person. We're like, we feel like a Kevin dose is probably like a bigger dose than too much. And also, like, does it ferment? You know, if I haven't taken it in a year, I become more potent because it's sitting in my drawer right here, and I'm not. I don't think I'll ever take it, but I want to. I want to just lay in the grass and look at the sky, and maybe I'd rip off my clothes and dance around my house naked. My neighbor would love it.
Your inner child at the same time.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that. Like, I talk a lot on Threads too about like being back in my Lisa Frank era. Like, even me on San Juan Island, like when I'm out and walking around, it's just me exploring and like being outside like I used to when I was a kid. I love to ride my bike, just little things like that where I'm like full embodiment. And you've said dissociated a lot, and that like really I relate to that a lot because I like have figured out when I'm disassociating, and it's kind of scary. Like
it's once you figure it out, you're like, I found myself initially dissociating in the hospital, and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Like and that's like how I know, like, I'm like, it's okay to feel these feelings. I'm going to be here with you in this moment and feel this because it fucking sucks and we're going to get through it. But like, don't dissociate. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to tune out right now. That was my first, like, because we have been so conditioned to do that. Like, oh, that sucks, tune out. And I've told this to Whitney multiple times. Like, I do it in very inappropriate times. Like, if someone's boring me and they're talking to me, like I glaze over like a donut. I'm like,
same
all the time.
Bye. And then people can tell.
All the time. Yeah.
It's rude. I'm like, sorry.
I've been asked before,
trauma.
Like, I come home from something like with a friend and they're like, oh, how was so-and-so? And I don't remember anything because I dissociated the whole time.
Or
they
like
overwhelm me.
You meet someone and they're like, oh yeah, we've met before. I'm like,
yeah. Me and my
entire
high school.
Yeah, you drive and you don't know how you get from point A to point B. You're like, oh.
I don't remember the last 15 minutes.
Right?
Yep.
Isn't that clue. Weird? I
don't remember where I'm going.
I asked my therapist about that specifically. Like, I'm like, is that dissociation? She's like, not really, because it's not like you're not going through something traumatic. Like it's not. Yeah. She's like, most people just like go on autopilot and they're not like, but she's like, I asked her because I was like, am I dissociating when I'm driving? Is that dangerous? And she's like, no, it's like.
It is. I'm trying to get into the habit of whether it's disassociation or whatever, like uncomfy feeling is coming up. it helps when I like actually have a conversation with that part. Have we talked about IFS? Do you guys know what IFS is?
No.
Mm-mm.
It's internal family systems. It's a
Oh, yeah.
therapy model. Okay. Where it's parts work, basically, where like every emotion or every experience, however you want to divide it, they're like parts. And then you just look at like anxiety, because that comes up a lot for me. Just have conversations with anxiety and like, hey, I see you. Thank you. I know you're here to protect me, but like, don't need you anymore. I got this. Go play. Like with my therapist, she helped me. It's called Safe Space. And I like created a huge mansion like in the mountains. And that's where like I keep all of my parts, and they all have their own rooms, and they all have their own like activities, and they all have their own like spirit animals that help keep them safe, like their caretakers, so that I don't feel responsible for every part all the time.
That was
a
cool.
huge relief. I was like, oh, I don't have to be, because I was parentified, because like I had to be my parents' parent a lot of the time. And so I had this like huge fear and like anxiety around having to care for or be needed. So I'm like, I don't want that responsibility. It's too much. It's overwhelming. It scares me. And so like being able to give all of my parts like a caretaker helps like me actually be the adult and be functioning.
I want to go to your mansion.
That's
go to my
so
mansion.
cool. And it's like that movie Inside Out.
Yes,
like,
100%. I love Inside Out. They're making a new one for teenagers. I'm so excited.
I know. Inside Out too. Did you see my reel? I met Joy at Disneyland.
Yes.
I like
Did you
bawled.
cry?
I bawled. And I was like, oh, she's going to help me. And then I started crying. And then the photographer is taking even more pictures. And then like she just hugged me so tight and like back and forth hugged me. And I was like, it was like symbolic, like it's so silly, but I was like, oh, it meant a lot. Like, and my family was nowhere near. They're like on the Ferris wheel again. I was like, I'm gonna go meet Joy. I'm like, and Billy even said like, Joy's over there. Go meet her. I was like, I already did. Like,
check. I feel validated.
Yeah, it's seen. Just it's so funny though. Just like, yeah, it's the emotions.
I like a big difference to have that connection and like have a conversation with them.
Yeah, I like the safe space. Like that's pretty cool. Like
I want your mansion.
Me too. I might do that for myself.
You can have one. And then I have my own like beach house. It's like a trail, and then like I'm on a beach, but it's not too far. So I can like visit when I want. A huge lesson that I'm still working on, but that IFS has really helped me with, is actually seeing myself as an adult that's like capable of making adult decisions. I did not, like a year ago.
Wow.
Like I'm still a 2-year-old trying to make adult decisions and trying to lead my life and trying to build a business. Like I don't have the capacity to do that. But now that like I have conversations with my parts and I'm in a room standing almost like a conference room, but like chill. And I'm standing there in front, like leading a presentation basically, or a conversation with my other parts at different ages and different stages. And I'm relating to them as an adult and they're seeing me as an adult.
Your therapist is rad. I like your therapist. Mine is great too, but that's cool. I'm going to ask her about this, but that's cool.
Yeah, I talk about my inner Whitneys a lot, like all, because you have like people talk about the inner child. Like I have so many inner children, so I talk to them a lot as far as like who's coming up right now and what does she need, and so I don't like to reduce anything to an inner child. I believe like even with your parts, it's like there's so many parts of us. There's so many inner children, and even for me, I've been really proud of myself. If we're just talking about what we're proud of right now. I'm going back to Southern Idaho where like I moved when I was 14, a month into freshman year of high school. And it was just so awful in so many ways. And I need to redefine my relationship with it there. So I signed up to go to the Sun Valley Writers Conference, which is a huge thing of me being an adult and identifying as like, I am a writer. I'm an author. I'm going to be in the energy of Judy Blume and I'm going to lose my shit in the most positive way possible. I am forcing my mom to come with me because it's still kind of big and scary. But like, I'm going to Boise on the way, and that's where I went to high school, and I'm staying in the like the cool, cute part of town, and I'm going to all the places that I would go to, like positive and negative in high school, and like redefining my relationship with all of them as an adult. So it's kind of funny and cool that you're bringing up this relationship now of like, even with all my money work, I've decided like, I'm a grown up, I'm good at math.
Yeah,
I can manage my own fucking money.
Yeah.
I can go to Boise and like, and calm my inner children and tell them it's okay. Like, this was a part of your life and it was not like a happy part for you. And now you get to have a different relationship. And I just love your mansion. And maybe I'll build my mansion in Idaho.
It's like what you're explaining is kind of like EMDR, where you're like, you're associating a new memory and to replace the old so that your body doesn't have that like negative attachment to it anymore, which is so beautiful. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's going to be good. And I'm bringing my little book and I'm going to do a reading at a yoga studio because like I just need all new, like new foundation to build my mansion with all, I think instead of my parts, maybe I'll have all my little Whitneys in all different, rooms. It'll be like
sleepover.
It'll be a fundamentalist Mormon mansion.
Oh, that's not where I was going with that. But okay.
Just as far as the amount of kids.
It's like a sleepover.
Yeah. I can have like, I'll have like a little Whitney for each age in the rooms. That's how many, like, that's why it needs to be a fundamentalist Mormon mansion.
It happens. I am obsessed with you.
Yes.
Same.
Let's do rapids and like then just sit around and talk about like how we help ourselves grow every day, like in person at some point soon.
I know we need to get lunch or do something.
Yeah. I remember we still have to have a trauma lunch.
Yes.
I was like, do you want to do a trauma lunch? She's like,
yeah. Oh my God.
Trauma
can I can bring my traumas too.
Yes.
Bring all your Whitneys.
All my little Whitneys. I actually had like meditations and speaking of visions, at one point I like had this vision of myself like on a stage where like, you know, those stages where I'm thinking of myself as like Glennon, you know, I'm walking to the end of this long stage and everybody's around me like I'm Justin Bieber. I'm not going to crowd surf them or anything, but all like I have my little headset kind of like now and I'm giving my big speech and everyone's there to see me. And then I'm holding the hand of all of my little Whitneys behind me, my inner children. And then we hug and we walk off. And it's like this moment.
That.
I had a vision like that like a year ago.
That's so
One
beautiful.
Day. Yeah.
I can feel tears like behind my eyes.
And of course, you know, I'll ride on a PJ there, whether it's mine. I don't think I want my own, but chartered with like a consistent pilot. I don't need to be
I'm here
for
for
it with the suede or the cashmere on my. Anyway, Hailey, what are you proudest of in your business right now?
I'm really proud of how I can show up for my clients and how they can leave feeling renewed and seen and like really taken care of. Like I'm just really proud of my ability to connect and build relationships with my clients and what that manifests as for them in their lives.
Yes. And do you give them anxiety around delivery times, or are you like, you will have these, here's some previews, like from the back of my camera at minimum, and you will have these for sure in 6 weeks longer for weddings? Because that was always like, I hated that anxiety.
Oh, yeah. I mean, should I share this? I tell everybody, I'm like, I'll give you sneak peeks within 72 hours, and then you should have your full gallery within like less than 2 weeks.
Dang.
Usually it's faster than that. Typically, if it's just a session, I get them the next day, like the whole session. But I know it's going to be like really busy, and the busier I get, I can't promise that anymore. But I do like, it's really like I have it blocked into my schedule after every session, every wedding. Like I have several editing days that are like, I don't do anything else that day because it's so important to me to just like get done as soon as possible because it's a part of the
process. Yeah.
Part of the whole process. And you want to feel it immediately. You want to like remember and like go through and process all of that like right after your session. So I want to give that to all of my people as soon as possible. But sometimes,
Totally. Well, and you get to change like your timelines based on your schedule too. But like that's part of why I ask is if like anxious people are coming, then like the waiting kind of sucks. It's like when you take a test and then you're over it in 2 weeks, you're like, I don't even care what my grade was. But to continue to ride that wave of like, look at me, I'm so hot. And then I love that like that's a part of your process and that's like a thoughtful thing for you, knowing like you were saying, showing up to serve them in a way that they need, because this is continued empowerment.
Yeah.
I just love it. Okay, you'll have a lot of answers to this. First thing that pops into your mind. Tell us about a book you read or a podcast you listened to recently that changed the way you're thinking about your life or your business.
I'm actually reading The Introvert's Edge right now by Matthew Pollard. I think I'm saying his last name right. I am an introvert. And I'm pretty fresh into it, but it has already been so great. He helps introverts understand a process to sell instead of like, because I think that the world thinks, oh, well, in order to be a good salesman or saleswoman or salesperson, you have to be an extrovert. Like it's the personality, where he believes that like introverts, it's about the process, and the process is actually the long game and ends up winning way more than personality does. And how can we just like make that an intentional process for you that works for you and your business so that you can just like knock sales out, but also create meaningful, lasting relationships. So yeah.
I just placed a hold on it because that's what I need. There's like so much. And what I'm loving about this conversation too is like, there's just so much in our world that we consume and just believe because we think that we should. Like even somebody telling Emily she needs to make 3 reels a day. If that's not right for Emily, she can test it. This is why I say for everything. You can test it. And if it doesn't feel right for you, then don't do it. Like I was talking to my trainer yesterday. I'm like, which I love that you weightlift too. I'm like, you don't have like George, my stepfather, he had multiple very successful businesses. He doesn't even know how to check his calendar, or didn't while he was working, like his email calendar. They didn't use that, and he was still successful. So you don't have like, everybody has their ways, and just because you see it on Reels and you're told to be niche doesn't mean that has to be true for you.
Yep.
Rant over. Okay. What would your last meal be?
Oh,
ever?
Ribeye steak, lots of butter, lots of seasoning, lobster tail, also lots of butter, mashed potatoes with a lot of gravy.
Also same. Yes.
Yes. Surf
and then
turf.
maybe some
surf
sort
and
of
turf.
seasonal vegetable. I don't really care. I like vegetables, any vegetable.
Beverage?
Probably an Aperol Spritz.
Ooh, okay.
I've never
Dessert.
had one. Is it delicious?
Oh, they're so good.
I don't drink anymore, like really at all, but I will drink for an Aperol Spritz. I'll probably have to take a nap, but.
Well, you're going to die.
So good.
In this scenario.
She's leaving her body anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Love Aperol Spritz. They're so good.
Yes. It's like a light and refreshing sort of thing. Yeah. So Spritzes are awesome. What's the best business purchase you've made in the last 6 months under $100?
Ooh. Under $100? Probably this mic and these headphones. I got very excited. So I was like, I'm going to be on the coast very soon.
Aww.
And I had a couple of other podcasts that I've been on. And I'm like, you know what? I really want to do more of this because this is like.
So you're embodying it. I love it.
Yeah. I'm like, let's
She's
do
showing
this
up
more.
as. Yeah. I love that. As you should. And what's lighting you up lately?
Lighting me up? I actually really enjoy making reels.
You're good at it.
Can tell.
You're so good at it.
It is a lot of fun. Coming up with the ideas is a different process, but actually like doing the reels and just having fun with it and getting the engagement. And I feel like since I really committed to that process, and I do it like every day, I try to post every day, it's made such a big difference in connecting with people. Because now when I go to events or if I just meet somebody that, we're on social media together, it's like, oh my God, like I feel like we know each other. And that is everything to me. Like it's so worth it. Yeah. And it's just so fun. And it's great that it's free marketing.
Yeah. I love your My Girl Mondays too.
Yes. I love them so much.
One of my partners, Jillian, and I think she was in your DMs about this because she's like, is social media queen. And she's like, she didn't follow you yet or something. So she didn't have the comments turned on, or like she couldn't tag people. So I think she like DM'd you like, make it so everyone can comment or whatever. Because she's like, I want to tag people.
I thought you would be able to.
I did. And I think I tagged her and then she couldn't tag people.
How do I?
But yeah, it's
okay. I'll look into that.
And it's like some kind of setting. I don't know why it would be on or off or
like
whatever.
I'm public, so I don't know why.
Yeah. She even sent me a screenshot, but I was like, Hailey's my girl. She'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. Thank you.
The last question that we have that we stole from Rainn Wilson is, what's one life experience everyone should have?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the Jim Carrey. There's a video or like a quote by him that's been going around where like he's like, everyone should have a taste of having their dreams completely fulfilled so that they can know that that's not what life is all about. Pretty much. And I agree with that. Whether it's through the process of like really making it, I mean, your evolution during that time is so transformational, but actually getting there and realizing like, oh, I have all the things that I thought would make me happy. And that's another thing that Ed Milet was talking about on the Jay Shetty podcast that I listened to yesterday. It's like, it's not about like, you think that all of these things are going to make us happy, but it's the emotion. Like that's what we're chasing. It's not the thing. And if we could just get ourselves to be in the emotion, to be in the state of being that we want to be in, then like all the stuff won't ever matter because we're already there.
Yep. I love that you said that from him too, or that he said that, because one of his most famous stories is writing himself that $10 million check. And he manifested his whole life. And then for him to take it full circle and say, I've tasted this and it's amazing, and I want you all to know what it feels like. He's taken us on the whole journey.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a cool dude.
He is.
I feel like I was raised by Jim Carrey just a little bit. Because my dad is like goofball central, whose name is also Jim. He did the claw and all the things in my childhood.
Oh my gosh, funny.
So I'm like, I feel connected to Jim Carrey on another level.
Yeah. Well, and for men too, to like, it's seeming to be cooler for men to be connected to themselves and have that intuition, and however they phrase it differently sometimes, but they're all big manifestors. They're all, they have different things that they use as crystals, but they're woo too.
Oh yeah. I feel like men were allowed to be that way forever. And we haven't been given the space.
Okay, but like if you're wearing your same crusty jersey every time you watch a sports game, that's your woo-woo.
Yeah. I want to mention
different.
This really quickly
Not
too.
Different.
So a podcast that I listened to that was like, I just can't get it out of my brain. The kids say taking up space rent free or whatever is the one, Money with Katie. I've been sharing it on my stories. We're talking about her next week in my Money Club. This will be out after Money Club. It's irrelevant. But she has this money podcast that was actually recommended by Jen from Co-Capsules. And so the assignment for my money group, which they do a lot like you guys do with the empowerment stuff, is to listen to 2 episodes, look at what you're choosing and think about why. And so there's layers to like why it matters what ones you're choosing. And one of the ones that I chose, of course, is about pop culture and how these 3 women last year saved America, and like just the amount of spending that they encouraged and like brought out in people, Taylor, Beyonce, and Barbie. And how like they saved the American economy because so many people are coming out in droves. And yet there's still this whole like, when it's a man's thing, then it's cool and it's sophisticated. But women, it's cheesy, like the PSL, Barbie, like they wanted it to be cheesy. They want to like knock these things that women are into, romance novels that literally drive the economy because women are the biggest consumer spenders too.
Yep.
So and then this lady, what she said to your point, Hailey, was like, and all of this criticism that comes from men who literally put together fake football teams that they have run around on a computer. And then they have the audacity to say that women are cheesy or chick flicks, or we have all these like names, basic, for the things that women care about. But we don't have equivalent words for men because, of course, they like invented it. Or
my mom calls it imaginary football. Are you playing imaginary football?
Instead of fantasy?
Yeah, she calls it imaginary football.
But they like, we make, I don't even really blink an eye. I'm like, oh, he's doing his fantasy thing. But like, you know, I get shit for watching Teen Mom.
Right.
Not from him necessarily, but like, you know, the culture, where I'm like, watch them grow up. They're evolving and they're healing. Like, this is an important journey that I'm on with my teen moms. And what journey are you on for your fake football? I love it. Hailey, you're the best. Where can we find you?
You're the best. Really, Instagram. Instagram's where I hang out the most. At Hailey Aitkins Photo, HaileyAitkins Photo. Yeah, hit me up. I hang out there a lot. All my links are on Instagram. That's really where I put like all of my energy. Yeah.
And we'll travel, right? For our international listeners.
I will travel pretty much anywhere. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank
Love
you for
guys.
giving a percentage of Joe Rogan time to us today.
You're welcome.
And thank you for Emily for showing up.
I'm so glad you're here.
Having this conversation.
No, it was good. It was good to be able to focus on something else for the hour. And now I'm got to get back to it.
Yeah.
We're sending you
We
home.
are actually, I failed to mention, we are actually establishing care with Apex Chiropractic, who is a former Coast podcast guest.
Amazing.
Oh,
and
cool.
we are going to be going twice a day for 2 weeks at first. But I'm confident that they're going to be able to help.
Oh,
so.
They're amazing.
Yeah, so amazing. So anyway, there's a lot going on, and got to go schedule all those things out. But it was nice to be able to hang out with you for an hour and zone out a little bit. Not zone out, but like not think about that, you know?
Yeah. Yes. So happy that you're here.
And tune in next week for another episode of Coast. Bye.
See you later.